And I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this.
As Mr. Belfort had the pleasure of telling us, the 1990s on Wall Street were marked by one thing: money. Among skater culture, raging music, and bold nightlife, the city experienced an economic boom. Job prospects and income grew, fueled by the high Wall Street earnings from none other than newly formed tech companies succeeding alongside the rise of something great: the internet. The media encouraged people to head aboard this market train, and this resulted in a significant Wall Street surge from 1995 to 1999. With increasing wealth inside Wall Street, other sectors of the bustling city benefited, including advertising, movies, media, and more. But what goes around comes around, and it would only be a little while before this bubble burst. The Great Recession, as it is commonly referred to, happened as the stock market finally crashed in 2008. Preceded by 9/11 and the subsequent freezing of the economy, they were left in aimless fear, but quickly bounced back to a time before the Twin Towers fell. But when talking about the crash, the staggering loss of white-collar jobs is what is often referred to, but what it poisoned the most was minorities. In fact, the year-end 2008 jobless rate among African Americans was twice that of white Americans. These issues are explored in Mbolo Mbue's 2016 debut, Behold the Dreamers, where a struggling Cameroonian family works towards an American dream in the background of this recession. To truly explore these impacts, we need to go back to Harlem. Jende Jonga, the protagonist in the book, describes where they live as the white people were nearly all gone. Mostly black people remained. More black people got in the train. That was how he knew it was Harlem, 125th Street. Though first settled by Dutch and Irish immigrants, Harlem was inhabited by a wave of African immigrants and is now called the Black Capital of America. While other parts of New York experienced wealth and interest in the 90s, Harlem was recovering from a time of rampant drug and crime in the 80s that spilled over. Fast forward to now, white people are enticed by the lowering crime and housing prices, and the threat of gentrification lies within. Quote-unquote luxury housing and multi-million housing projects proposed within Harlem have caused desperate protests from the black community that lives there. In thereof, it begs the question: how can low-income immigrants create a life of their own in America when their communities are being threatened by these middle-class white Americans? In contrast, we have the Jongas' employers, the rich and white Edwards with their summer home in the Hamptons. Everything the Jongas aspire to be in regard to America, until that is, when Clark Edwards, who works for Lehman, gets hit by its bankruptcy. The recession is said to have started with the fall of the Lehman Brothers, the fourth largest bank in the US, but had in fact started in late 2007. However, as the hub of the market, prices did not start to fall in New York City until 2009, 2 years later. Wall Street accounts for nearly 30% of all wages and salaries in New York City, so the 41% increase of job loss following the crash is evident. Millennials, who are entering the workplace at this aftermath, are left to pick up the pieces even as housing prices are becoming unaffordable and they are being saddled with debt. As a result of the crash, the Jongas, having been laid off and unable to pay bills, moved back to Cameroon, foregoing their original plan, which, like many families, had originally been based on the long-standing hope of an American dream.
What's unique about America is that we want these dreams for more than just ourselves. We want them for other people as well. That's why we call it the American dream. We want it for the kid who doesn't go to college because she can't afford it. We want it for the worker who's wondering if his wages will pay this winter's heating bill. We want it for the 47 million Americans who right now are living without health care.
Is the American dream dead? That is the age-old question, one Barack Obama uses his own grassroots voice to push his understanding of throughout his election campaign. His vision is an idealized America where the disadvantaged have the same opportunities as everyone else. His inspiration transcends just his role as the former president and political leader. Even the fictional Jende in Behold the Dreamers states to Clark, his employer, "America has something for everyone, sir. Look at Obama. The man is a black man with no father or mother trying to be president over a country." What the Jongas cannot understand is the rarity of success when cards are stacked against you. And what is success? The tragedy of the American dream lies in the hope that can result in great disappointment for immigrants. Having a dream that coincides with what quote-unquote happiness means with a colonial mindset lets immigrants become complacent with their own struggles while facing racism and discrimination in the West. Speaking personally, my parents have always believed that they would have been richer if they had stayed in China. The absence of a language barrier, compounded with the stark economic growth observed back home, would have given me a much different upbringing, but a more comfortable life for my parents financially. Instead, I am left with the first-generation immigrant goal of succeeding my parents, though this is mainly attainable due to growing up here and having less barriers set out in comparison. I often wonder, did my parents never move back because they truly believed in a better future, or was it just too late at that point? The basis of the American dream promotes optimism in Americans, a mood significantly challenged by the arrival of the Great Recession. Though having an original meaning like Obama explains, the idea of the American dream evolved into a material status containing a family's parents and children, a secure job, and importantly, a home. With the recession in full swing, a home becomes unattainable for not only immigrants in poverty, but millennial children and even full middle-class Americans. In the book, even former partners of the Lehman Brothers are trying to find simple jobs as chauffeurs like Jende. No longer is the American dream an idea of optimism, but instead the crushing cynicism of this new economy. At the end of the day, can immigrants have a content attitude as they get kicked out of their neighborhoods or take the brunt of an economic collapse? Behold the Dreamers is not pessimistic. It's the painful realization experienced by many immigrants.